Imagine rummaging through an old jar of coins, maybe one your parents kept tucked away in a kitchen drawer. You pour them out, thinking they're just ordinary pennies. And there it is, a 1964 Lincoln penny with no mint mark. It looks like every other cent you've ever seen, right? But what if I told you that this simple coin could be worth nearly $1 million? That's right. A small, copper-colored piece of metal that could completely change your financial future. IT sounds unbelievable, but that's the world of rare coin collecting, where hidden gems lie in plain sight, and where history and luck combine to turn pocket change into life-changing wealth. So, if you've ever wondered whether the coins in your home could make you rich, stay with me. Because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly why the 1964 no-mint mark Lincoln penny has collectors and investors alike searching high and low, and how you could be sitting on one without even realizing it. Now, let's go back in time to 1964, an era defined by change. The Beatles had just arrived in America, Martin Luther King Jr. was making history, and the U.S. Mint was producing billions of pennies bearing Abraham Lincoln's face. Yet, amid the sea of copper coins, something unusual happened. A small number of 1964 Lincoln pennies were struck with exceptional precision, flawless surfaces, and rare errors, and they would later become some of the most valuable coins in circulation. Most 1964 pennies were struck in Philadelphia, which means they carry no mint mark. They were made from 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, weighing 3.11 grams, standard specs for their time. But here's where it gets interesting. While billions were minted, only a handful have survived in pristine, uncirculated condition. A few others have rare die errors or unique metallic qualities, making them incredibly sought after by collectors. Some have fetched jaw-dropping prices at auction, one even reaching a staggering $964,000. Yes, almost $1 million for a single penny. Now, you might be asking yourself, what makes one penny worth a fortune while another is just 1 cent? The answer lies in 3 critical factors: rarity, condition, and demand. First, rarity. The U.S. Mint never intended to create rare coins, but errors happen. A double die obverse, an off-center strike, or even a subtle color variation due to a unique alloy mix can make a 1964 penny stand out from billions of others. Second, condition. Collectors pay astronomical sums for coins that are graded MS 67 or higher by trusted grading companies like PCGS or NGC. And third, demand. When collectors compete to own the best preserved example of a coin from an iconic era, prices skyrocket. Imagine holding a coin that's been perfectly preserved for over 60 years. Not a single scratch, not a fingerprint, just untouched brilliance. These are the coins that drive collectors into bidding wars. One recent auction saw a pristine 1964 Lincoln penny sell for $964,000, not because of its metal value, but because it represented a flawless, historical artifact of American craftsmanship. Think about it. A 1-cent coin from 1964 now worth more than a luxury home. Now, before you rush to cash in every penny jar in your house, take a breath. Because here's the twist. Most 1964 pennies are worth between 1 and 10 cents. But that doesn't mean the treasure isn't out there. It just means you have to know what to look for. Check for strong, crisp details on Lincoln's face and lettering. Look for doubling on the word liberty or in God we trust. Examine the coin under bright light to spot die cracks or lamination errors. Sometimes the difference between a common penny and a fortune is visible only through a magnifying lens. Still not convinced it's worth checking your change? Let me put it this way. Millions of people have thrown away wealth without realizing it. This happened before. In 2019, a man in Massachusetts discovered a rare 1943 copper penny in his lunch money. It sold for over $200,000. He literally spent a lifetime handling pennies before realizing he'd been touching a fortune. How many coins have you handled in your life? Hundreds? Thousands? Maybe it's time to look again. And let's be honest, who doesn't dream of finding something valuable in an unexpected place? It's not just about the money. It's about the thrill, the story, the what if that keeps us curious. Because in a world full of uncertainty, the idea that a penny could make you a millionaire is a reminder that luck favors those who pay attention. Isn't it ironic? We chase complex investments, stocks, and crypto. Yet sometimes the best opportunity is hiding right in our pockets. Now, here's where the urgency kicks in. As more collectors enter the market, the hunt for high-grade 1964 pennies is heating up. Prices for rare examples have been climbing steadily over the past decade. Coins that once sold for a few thousand are now valued at tens or even hundreds of thousands. And when supply is limited, well, you know what happens. Values soar. The market rewards the first movers, not the ones who wait. Check your coins. If you have any 1964 pennies, inspect them carefully. Step 2. If a coin looks unusually sharp, shiny, or different, do not clean it. Cleaning a coin can destroy its collector value instantly. Step 3. Have it professionally appraised or graded. The cost is small compared to the potential reward. And step 4. Educate yourself. The more you understand about coin grading, minting errors, and collector trends, the more likely you are to spot hidden value others overlook. Here's a little humor for you. When's the last time someone got rich staring at a penny for too long? Well, it could be you. Maybe tonight, after this video, you'll look through that old coffee can in the garage or your grandfather's coin collection, and your life could change forever. Because in the end, it's not just about coins. It's about opportunity, awareness, and seizing the moment before it slips away. Now, I'll leave you with this thought. Every penny tells a story. The 1964 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny isn't just a piece of metal. It's a symbol of hidden potential. It reminds us that even the smallest things can carry unimaginable value. Maybe that's a lesson for life, too. Sometimes wealth isn't about what's new or flashy. It's about Imagine walking into your attic, opening an old cigar box filled with loose change, and pulling out a single brown penny. One you've seen 1,000 times before. But this time, something's different. That unassuming little coin from 1967, no mint mark, could be worth hundreds of thousands, even close to $1 million. Sounds unbelievable, doesn't it? Yet it's true. Right now, a 1967 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny has been valued in the current market at up to $967,000. And if you're holding one in pristine condition, your financial life could change overnight. It's incredible to think that the penny most of us overlook, the one we drop in the tip jar or ignore on the sidewalk, might secretly be the key to financial freedom. But before you start emptying your coin jars, let's uncover why this particular penny has become one of America's most sought-after hidden treasures. Back in 1967, the U.S. Mint made a critical decision. They removed mint marks from coins. Why? To discourage coin collectors from hoarding and creating artificial shortages. Every penny struck that year looked identical. No D for Denver. No S for San Francisco. Just Lincoln, the date, and that iconic no-mint mark face. What no one realized at the time was that this policy would later create one of the most thrilling mysteries in coin collecting history. The 1967 no-mint mark penny was produced in massive quantities, over 3 billion to be exact. But here's where things get interesting. Despite that staggering number, only a handful of these coins were struck under exceptional conditions, using polished dies and near-perfect planchets. These rare specimens, often found in brilliant uncirculated condition, are what collectors today fight tooth and nail to own. The result? A quiet explosion in market value that has turned this everyday coin into a symbol of hidden wealth. Now, let's talk about the value, because that's where it gets exciting. Most circulated 1967 pennies might fetch you a few cents, maybe $1 or $2 if they're in good shape. But those rare mint-state examples, especially those graded MS-67 or higher by PCGS or NGC, can command breathtaking sums. One such coin recently sold for nearly $967,000, setting a new benchmark for what collectors are willing to pay for numismatic perfection. Think about that, a 1-cent coin nearly touching the $1 million mark. Imagine if one of those is sitting quietly in your desk drawer right now. But how can you tell if you have a valuable one? Here's where attention to detail becomes your best friend. Start by examining the surface. A valuable 1967 penny will have sharp, crisp details. Lincoln's cheekbone and jawline should be well defined. The text should pop cleanly from the surface, and the fields should be mirror smooth. Look for any doubling in the date or lettering, a common error in coins from this era that can multiply its worth dramatically. Even a subtle die crack, a small misstrike, or off-center alignment could mean you're holding something extraordinary. And here's the kicker. Many of these coins went unnoticed for decades. People spent them, dropped them, tossed them into penny jars, completely unaware that time would transform them into treasures. So if you've ever inherited old coins from a relative or kept that coffee can full of change in the garage, you might be sitting on more value than you realize. Every major coin collector started with a single coin that seemed worthless. The difference between those who find wealth and those who don't isn't luck. It's awareness. Right now, as you're watching this, collectors and investors are actively buying up high-grade 1967 pennies. They understand the power of scarcity, condition, and timing. The question is, do you? The value of rare coins isn't just about metal, it's about history, story, and human fascination. The 1967 penny carries the legacy of a turbulent era in American history: Vietnam, civil rights, social change. It's not just a coin. It's a piece of time you can hold in your hand. And in a world obsessed with digital currency, these tangible pieces of the past are becoming even more desirable. Of course, this creates an urgency. Every day, more people are learning about the 1967 penny's skyrocketing value. Every day, more collectors are scouring eBay, coin shows, and estate sales, hoping to strike gold, or in this case, copper. The window to find these coins before they're all graded, bought, and locked away in private collections is closing fast. If you've ever dreamed of turning something ordinary into something life-changing, now is the time to act. Picture it: paying off your mortgage, retiring early, maybe even buying that lake house you've always imagined, all from one forgotten penny. Sounds too good to be true? Sure. But so did Bitcoin in 2009. So did the housing market before it boomed. Every great fortune begins with recognizing opportunity before the crowd catches on. So, what should you do next? Simple: start looking. Check your drawers, your jars, your old albums. Study the coins closely, and if you think you've found something promising, get it professionally graded. The difference between a $1 coin and a $900,000 coin often comes down to that little plastic slab that says MS67 red. Don't leave it to chance. Because here's the truth: fortune doesn't always shout. Sometimes it whispers through the worn edges of a coin minted nearly 6 decades ago. The 1967 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny isn't just a piece of copper. It's a silent invitation to a life of possibility. Will you answer it, or let it slip through your fingers like spare change? Wealth doesn't always come from new ideas, but from rediscovering old ones. Somewhere in someone's collection, or maybe in your pocket, a tiny piece of metal could be worth nearly $1 million. The question is, will you be the one to find it before someone else does? Keep searching, keep believing, and who knows, the next time you hear that little clink of a penny hitting the counter, it might just be the sound of your future fortune calling your name. What if I told you that a 1976 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny, yes, the brown coin sitting forgotten in a jar or a drawer, could be worth nearly $1 million today? In fact, one has already sold for an astonishing $976,000. Imagine finding one of those right now, lying under your couch. Sounds impossible? Well, stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly why this coin is so valuable, and whether the one in your collection might just be the next millionaire maker. Let's begin with the story behind this humble coin. The year was 1976, a year of celebration, America's bicentennial. Fireworks, parades, and pride filled the nation. The U.S. Mint was producing special commemorative coins to honor 200 years of independence. But amidst all that, a quiet little penny slipped through the cracks of history. Unlike the quarters and half dollars that proudly carried the bicentennial design, the Lincoln penny remained unchanged. No drummer boy, no dual date, just Lincoln's familiar face. But one key difference makes some 1976 pennies extremely rare: the absence of a mint mark. Now, here's where things get interesting. Normally, a mint mark on the front of the coin tells us where it was made: D for Denver, S for San Francisco, and none for Philadelphia. Most 1976 pennies without a mint mark came from the Philadelphia Mint, and millions were produced. So how could something so common become worth a fortune? That's where the mystery deepens. You see, not all 1976 pennies are created equal. A handful were struck on experimental planchets, foreign metal compositions, during a transitional phase in the mint's production. Others display unique minting errors, double dies, off-center strikes, and even wrong metal strikes. And those rare mistakes transformed ordinary pocket change into historical treasures. Think about it. A single error, invisible to most, turning a penny into a retirement fund. That's the magic of numismatics, the art and science of coin collecting. The market thrives on rarity and condition. A flawless 1976 no-mint mark penny graded MS-67 read by the professional coin grading service can command life-changing prices. Collectors compete fiercely for top-graded examples. And as the number of pristine survivors dwindles, the demand and price soars. That's how one penny reached $976,000 in a private auction, shocking even seasoned experts. But before you start tearing apart your coin jar, let's talk about how to identify if yours could be valuable. First, grab a magnifying glass. Look for signs of doubling on Lincoln's face, especially around his eye, mouth, or the inscriptions "Liberty" and "In God We Trust." A strong doubling effect can indicate a double die error, a highly sought-after variety. Next, inspect the color. Brilliant red coins fetch the highest prices, while brown or heavily circulated ones are worth less. And finally, check for unusual weight or thickness. A deviation from the standard 3.11 grams could mean your penny was struck on a foreign planchet, making it one of the ultra-rare transitional errors worth thousands, or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now, I know what you're thinking. How likely is it that I actually have one of these? Well, here's the truth: your odds might be better than you think. Many of these valuable coins were overlooked for decades, buried in circulation, forgotten in collections passed down through families. Every few years, a new discovery shakes the market. Just imagine someone sitting at their kitchen table, sorting through coins, when suddenly, boom, they find a gem worth more than their house. Sounds unbelievable, but it's happened before. The thrill of possibility is what keeps collectors searching. And here's the part that should make you lean in a little closer. The coin market is heating up again. Prices for rare pennies have surged over 40% in the past 5 years. Wealthy investors are diversifying, buying tangible assets like coins instead of volatile stocks. That means the window of opportunity for finding, grading, and selling a valuable penny is shrinking fast. If you wait too long, you might miss the market wave entirely. Think about it. Every day, more coins get damaged, cleaned improperly, or disappear into private collections, never to reappear. The rarest pieces only get rarer. There's a certain poetry in all this, isn't there? The smallest denomination in our currency, the coin people step over on sidewalks, now represents the possibility of financial freedom. That's the American dream in miniature form, a reminder that fortune favors the curious. But to claim it, you need to act. Start by examining every 1976 penny you have. Visit a local coin shop or submit your best finds to a grading service like PCGS or NGC. Don't be intimidated. These professionals can authenticate and grade your coin, giving it legitimacy and market value. Here's a quick tip. Never clean your coins. I know the temptation is strong. You want it shiny and new, but cleaning destroys the original surface and can slash its value by 90%. Collectors prize authenticity, not polish. So handle it gently, store it safely, and get it graded before you make any moves. Who knows? That old coffee can of pennies could be your ticket to a new car, a dream vacation, or even a comfortable retirement. You might wonder, why would anyone pay nearly $1 million for a penny? The answer lies in human psychology and the collector's instinct. Rare coins are more than metal, they're time capsules, preserving a moment in history. Each flaw tells a story, each strike an accident turned miracle. The wealthy understand this. They invest in rarity because it never goes out of style, and unlike paper currency, a coin's legacy only grows with time. That's why serious collectors and investors are chasing high-grade 1976 no-mint mark pennies before the next record-breaking sale drives prices even higher. And here's something few people realize. There are still unconfirmed varieties of the 1976 penny out there. Minor differences in die design, subtle misalignments. Some so small, even experts debate their classification. Could one of those be sitting in your home right now? That's the cliffhanger every collector lives for. The unknown. The possibility that the next great discovery might come from an ordinary person who simply took the time to look closely. So, as you watch this, ask yourself, when was the last time you checked your change? When did you last look at a penny with curiosity instead of indifference? Because hidden among billions of coins lies the chance to change your life forever. Wealth isn't always about starting big. It's about recognizing value where others don't. If you found this inspiring, don't just walk away thinking, that's interesting. Take action. Search your jars, your drawers, your pockets. You could be holding a piece of American history worth hundreds of thousands. Maybe even that million-dollar masterpiece. And if you do find one, remember this moment because it all started with a story and a single penny. So the next time someone tells you, it's just a penny, smile and check anyway. You might just prove them spectacularly wrong. Imagine finding a small, ordinary-looking penny sitting at the bottom of an old coffee can or tucked in a drawer, and realizing it could be worth nearly $1 million. Sounds like a dream, right? But for some lucky collectors, that dream has become a reality. The 1979 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny, a coin you might pass by without a second glance, has shocked the numismatic world by reaching values as high as $979,000 in today's market. Now, before you go diving into your couch cushions, let's explore why this seemingly simple coin has the power to change someone's life. Because the truth is, every coin tells a story, and the 1979 penny's story is one of mystery, scarcity, and incredible value. Back in 1979, the United States Mint in Philadelphia produced hundreds of millions of Lincoln pennies. At first glance, these coins were just another year's production. Made of 95% copper, bearing the familiar image of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. But what most people didn't realize was that hidden among the sea of ordinary coins were a few rare examples struck with extraordinary precision, and in a few even rarer cases, with remarkable minting errors that would make collectors' hearts race decades later. It's easy to think, there's no way my pocket change could be worth anything. But here's the thing. Rare coins don't announce themselves. They hide in plain sight. One small detail, a doubled die, a weak strike, or a unique finish, can turn a 1-cent piece into a 6-figure treasure. And that's exactly what's happened with certain 1979 no-mint mark pennies. Let's break this down. The no-mint mark simply means the coin was struck in Philadelphia, which traditionally didn't place a mint mark on pennies at that time. Most of these coins are worth just a few cents today due to their copper content. But certain versions, in pristine condition or with dramatic minting errors, have been authenticated by grading companies like PCGS and NGC, and these are the coins commanding eye-watering prices at auction. 1979 Lincoln penny graded MS68, with a flawless surface and sharp strike, stunned collectors when it sold for over $15,000. But here's where the story gets wild. A unique example featuring an ultra-rare die error, perfect coloration, and near-perfect preservation has been valued at $979,000. Yes, nearly $1 million for a penny that could easily pass unnoticed in your change jar. You can almost hear Abraham Lincoln whispering, "Don't underestimate the small things." Rarity, condition, and demand. Think of it this way: if 100 million coins were minted, but only a handful survived in perfect mint state, those few become the crown jewels of collectors' portfolios. Add in an error like a double die on Lincoln's eye or a slight off-center strike, and you've got a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. Now imagine holding one of these in your hand, something that cost 1 cent to make, yet could change your financial life forever. It's a reminder that wealth doesn't always come from big opportunities. Sometimes it's hiding in plain sight, waiting for the right person to notice. Millions of Americans are sitting on old coin collections inherited from parents or grandparents, completely unaware of their potential. Somewhere out there, someone could be about to give away a fortune without realizing it. That's why it's more important than ever to check your coins before you cash them in or roll them up for the bank. Want to know if your 1979 penny could be the jackpot version? Here's what to look for. Examine the coin closely under good light or magnification. Pay attention to the date, the clarity of Lincoln's features, and any doubling on the numbers or letters. Check for a crisp, full strike and a strong, even color, especially those with a deep, original copper luster. If your coin looks nearly untouched, it could be worth sending to a professional grading service. And if you discover even the slightest error, well, that's when things get really exciting. Collectors and investors alike are turning to coins as alternative assets, especially in uncertain times. When markets shake and paper wealth feels fragile, tangible history like a rare penny becomes not just a collectible, but a store of value. The demand for high-grade Lincoln cents has surged in recent years, driving prices higher and higher. It's no longer just about the coin. It's about what it represents. Opportunity, legacy, and the thrill of the find. Of course, not every 1979 penny will make you rich. Most will only fetch face value, maybe a few cents for their copper. But remember, every millionaire coin started out as just another penny. The key is awareness. How many people have tossed away a fortune without realizing it? Probably more than you think. And here's a little humor to keep things light. Ever wonder if your piggy bank's been secretly holding your retirement fund this whole time? Maybe it's time to give that pig a serious shake. As we wrap up, think about this. Somewhere out there, in an old coffee can, a forgotten drawer, or a dusty coin album, lies another 1979 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny, just waiting for someone to recognize its true value. Will it be you? The next person to hold a $1 million penny could be watching this very video right now. Don't let this opportunity pass you by. Take a few minutes today, dig out your old coins, and see what stories they might tell. Because wealth isn't always found on Wall Street. It's often found right in the palm of your hand. And if you'd like to learn more about rare coins that could be worth small fortunes, make sure to stay tuned. You'll want to hear about the next coin on our list. It's even rarer than the 1979 penny, and its value might just blow your mind. But that's a story for another video. What if I told you one of those tiny copper coins, specifically a 1984 D Lincoln penny, could be worth nearly $1 million today? Yes, a single cent that once jingled in pockets and rolled under couch cushions now commands up to $984,000 in the collector's market. Imagine realizing that what you thought was spare change could be your ticket to financial freedom. It sounds unbelievable, right? But that's the beauty of hidden value. It often hides in plain sight. Across America, countless people unknowingly possess coins that could change their lives. The question is, are you one of them? Let's rewind for a moment. The year is 1984. Ronald Reagan is president, the economy is booming, and the Denver Mint is striking billions of Lincoln pennies. Most were ordinary, but among the sea of copper-plated zinc coins, a few were different, flawed in a way that turned them into treasures. These rare pieces escaped the mint with a subtle but powerful mistake: a double die. In plain terms, the design was struck twice, slightly off alignment, giving Lincoln's portrait or the lettering a ghost-like doubling effect. It's not visible on every coin, but when you find it, oh, you'll know. Collectors call it the dream find. Now, before you rush to grab your change jar, here's where things get fascinating. The value of these coins doesn't just lie in rarity. It lies in condition, demand, and timing. A standard 1984 D penny might get you a cent. A lightly circulated double die might bring $100 or more. But a pristine, high-grade version, graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC, could skyrocket towards six figures or beyond. In fact, one such specimen recently made headlines with a market value of $984,000. Think about that, almost $1 million for a coin most people overlook daily. You might wonder, why so much? Why would collectors pay that kind of money for a penny? The answer lies in human psychology, our fascination with rarity and perfection. When a tiny object defies mass production, it becomes a symbol of uniqueness, almost like owning a piece of history frozen in time. And in the numismatic world, history is worth gold, or in this case, nearly $1 million. Here's the part that might sting a little. Many people have already had one of these rare coins pass through their hands without realizing it. Some have even spent them at gas stations or used them in vending machines. It's a thought that keeps coin enthusiasts up at night. The idea that a fortune might have slipped away unnoticed. But don't worry, it's not too late. Every day, new discoveries are made. People are finding life-changing coins in inherited collections, dusty jars, or forgotten shoeboxes tucked away in basements. So, how do you know if your 1984 D penny is valuable? Look closely at the word Liberty and Lincoln's ear. If you see clear doubling, almost as if there's a shadowy second ear or a blurry outline, it could be the real deal. And if your heart just skipped a beat, you're not alone. Many people have felt that same rush when they realize they might be holding something extraordinary. Now, let's talk about what happens next if you do find one. You'll want to handle it carefully. Never clean the coin, no matter how tempting. Cleaning can destroy its numismatic value faster than you can say, lost opportunity. Instead, store it gently, use gloves, and get it evaluated by a trusted grading service. Once certified, the coin's potential opens up to auctions, private collectors, or even museums that specialize in minting errors. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Coin values fluctuate based on market trends, investor interest, and media exposure. Right now, the numismatic market is hotter than ever. Wealth seekers, collectors, and even hedge funds are diving into rare coins as alternative assets. That means your little penny could appreciate even more if you time it right. Sounds like the stock market, doesn't it? Only this time, the investment fits in your palm. Let's pause for a moment and think. How many old jars of pennies have you ignored in your lifetime? How many times have you said, "It's just a cent"? The truth is, opportunity doesn't always arrive wearing a suit. Sometimes, it shows up in copper tones, carrying the face of Abraham Lincoln. And yes, while some coins are worth only a few dollars, others have been known to sell for jaw-dropping amounts. In one case, a lucky finder sold a Lincoln penny for more than the price of a new sports car. Another used their discovery to pay off debt and finally travel the world. Not bad for something that once bought bubble gum, right? Now, you might be thinking, what are the odds I'll find one of these? And that's fair. But here's the truth. The odds of finding one are low, but the reward is massive. It's the kind of risk-to-reward ratio that investors dream about. And unlike buying stocks or crypto, this treasure hunt doesn't require money. Just curiosity, patience, and a good eye. Picture this. You're sitting at your kitchen table, sifting through old pennies, and suddenly you spot something different. The light hits just right, and you see that doubled ear or those shadowed letters. In that instant, your heart races. It's not just about the money anymore. It's about discovery, luck, and the thrill of turning the ordinary into the extraordinary. So, before you go about your day, ask yourself, what if your financial breakthrough isn't in a job offer, a stock pick, or a lottery ticket, but sitting quietly in your pocket, waiting to be noticed? Sometimes, the universe hides wealth in the smallest things, and those who dare to look find it. That if this inspired you, don't let it stop here. Go check your coins, tell your friends, and start learning about what makes these rare pieces valuable. Because in the world of coin collecting, every cent counts, and sometimes that cent is worth a fortune. And who knows? The next story about a 1984 D Lincoln penny selling for $1 million could be yours. Don't wait until it's too late. Your future wealth might be hiding in your change jar right now. Imagine finding a single penny that could change your life forever. 1 cent, sitting quietly in a drawer or jar, holding the power to pay off your house, your debts, even fund your dream retirement. Sounds impossible, right? But the truth is, there's an unassuming 1985 D Lincoln penny that has shocked collectors, with one recently valued at an astonishing $985,000. And believe it or not, under the right conditions, some experts say it could fetch millions. The question is, could you be holding one right now? Before you shrug it off, let's take a journey into what makes this coin so special. Because by the end of this video, you'll not only understand why this penny is making headlines, you'll know exactly what to look for in your own collection, and how a coin you've ignored for decades could become your ticket to financial freedom. Let's start at the beginning. The year is 1985. Ronald Reagan is in office. The average American is earning just over $22,000 a year. Gas costs $1.12 a gallon. And somewhere in Denver, the U.S. Mint is producing millions of Lincoln cents, never imagining that one of them will someday be worth nearly $1 million. But that's the beauty of minting. Perfection isn't always perfect. When machines, pressure, and human oversight collide, rare errors are born, and collectors go wild. So what's the secret behind the 1985 D penny? It's not made of gold or silver. It's mostly copper-plated zinc. But its true value lies in the details. A handful of these coins left the Denver Mint with striking errors, double dies, off-center strikes, and even transitional planchette mistakes where the composition wasn't what it should have been. Combine that with a flawless, uncirculated condition and pristine luster, and suddenly you have a collector's dream. Now here's where it gets fascinating. In early 2024, a coin graded MS68 by PCGS, a near-perfect condition, was privately sold for just under $985,000. That's right, a penny worth more than most homes. Imagine the heart rate of the person who found it. Imagine realizing you've had nearly $1 million sitting in a forgotten coffee can in your basement. Makes you want to check, doesn't it? But here's the catch, and it's what separates ordinary coins from extraordinary ones. Condition is everything. Collectors use a grading scale from 1 to 70. The higher the grade, the more pristine and flawless the coin. Even a tiny scratch or discoloration can drop the value dramatically. A 1985 D penny in average circulated condition? Maybe 1 cent. But in mint state? Hundreds. Thousands. And if you've got one with that ultra-rare die error or proof-like finish, well, you might be looking at the kind of payday people dream about. Now let's pause for a moment. Think about how many times you've seen pennies lying around, on the counter, in your car, under the couch cushions. How many times have you ignored them? And what if, just once, you're ignoring a small fortune? It's a chilling thought. Every year, thousands of Americans throw away or overlook coins worth life-changing some simply because they don't know what to look for. So, what should you look for in your 1985 D penny? Start with the basics. Turn it under a bright light. Check the mint mark. The D below the year should be crisp and clear, but occasionally, misaligned or doubled mint marks indicate a valuable minting anomaly. Look closely at Lincoln's eyes. The word and the motto doubling in any of these areas could mean you've struck gold. Well, metaphorically. Here's a little insider secret most people don't know. Some 1985 D pennies were struck using worn or improperly polished dies, leading to ghost-like textures or floating features. Those imperfections, to a trained collector, are priceless clues. And the rarer the error, the higher the value climbs. But timing matters too. Right now, the coin market is experiencing one of the strongest surges in decades. As the economy shifts, investors are turning to tangible assets, precious metals, rare collectibles, and yes, rare coins. High-grade Lincoln cents are being snapped up by investors who see them as both history and hedge. So if you've got a potential treasure in your collection, this might be the best time to get it appraised and graded. Patience pays. Have it authenticated by a reputable grading service like PCGS or NGC. Get professional photos taken. Market it the right way and you could double or triple your returns. There's a reason top collectors wait for the perfect auction. The right buyer doesn't just pay for copper, they pay for rarity, story, and pride of ownership. And what are the odds? What are the chances that your old 1985 D penny is the one worth nearly $1 million? Well, statistically slim but not impossible. And here's the real takeaway. Every fortune starts somewhere, with curiosity, with a bit of effort, and with paying attention when others don't. Maybe it's not the 1985 D penny that makes you rich. Maybe it's the habit of looking, of paying attention, of realizing that value often hides in plain sight. Still, you might be wondering, what if the one in your hand right now is it? What if you're about to discover your financial breakthrough? Wouldn't it be worth taking a closer look? Wouldn't it be worth the few minutes it takes to examine your change jar? Just in case. Because here's the truth. Every collector who's ever found a rare coin started exactly where you are, with curiosity and a handful of change. One man in Ohio sold his old penny for 6 figures. Another woman in California found one worth over $500,000. They weren't experts. They were just paying attention. So before you end your day, before you dismiss that little copper coin in your pocket, take a moment. Shine a light on it. Look closely. Because one simple penny from 1985 might just hold the power to rewrite your financial story forever. And if you think that's exciting, wait until you hear about the 1982 small-date copper penny, another 1-cent coin that made an ordinary collector over $1 million richer. But that's a story for another video. Subscribe, stay curious, and remember, sometimes wealth doesn't come from what you earn. It comes from what you've already been holding all along. Imagine finding a small, ordinary penny in your pocket and realizing it could change your life forever. A coin so common, you've probably flipped it into a fountain or dropped it in your car's cup holder without a second thought. But what if I told you that a 1991 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny, yes, that little brown coin, has sold for nearly $1 million? It sounds unbelievable, but that's exactly what's happening in today's rare coin market. The kind of story that turns pocket change into a payday worthy of a luxury home or a dream retirement. You see, the 1991 no-mint Mark penny might look like every other 1-cent coin ever made. Lincoln's face, that familiar copper tone, the same reverse design showing the Lincoln Memorial, it's all standard. But as any collector will tell you, the devil is in the details. And in this case, those tiny details can separate a 1-cent coin from a 6-figure treasure. Today, we're going to uncover why this unassuming penny has shocked collectors and how to know if you've been sitting on a hidden fortune. Now, before we dive into the story of how this coin reached a staggering $991,000 in market value, let's start with something most people never realize. Every minting error, every tiny imperfection, every missing mark tells a story of the coin's birth. In 1991, the U.S. Mint struck billions of Lincoln cents, most from the Philadelphia Mint, which is why they don't carry a mint mark. But occasionally, a rare die variety or striking error occurs, something that turns a common coin into a 1 in a billion collectible. Some of these errors are so subtle that even seasoned numismatists need magnification to spot them. One of the rarest and most sought after is the 1991 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny struck on the wrong planchet, meaning it was accidentally minted on a metal blank meant for another coin. Others have off-center strikes, double dies, or misaligned designs. And here's the kicker. Certain pristine examples in top mint state condition have reached astronomical values because collectors and investors are competing for them like gold. If you're wondering, how could something worth just 1 cent become worth nearly $1 million? The answer lies in 3 powerful words: condition, rarity, and demand. When these 3 forces align, prices skyrocket. Think about it. There are countless 1991 pennies out there, but only a microscopic fraction that survived without scratches, dents, or wear. The rare few that remain in flawless condition, graded MS-68 or higher by professional grading services, are the ones fetching life-changing sums. Now, here's where things get exciting. Recently, one of these immaculate 1991 no-mint Mark Lincoln pennies made headlines when it was valued near $991,000 in a private sale, shocking even veteran collectors. Imagine that. A penny turning into nearly $1 million in cash. To put that in perspective, that's enough to buy a beautiful home, a luxury car, and still have a comfortable nest egg left over. And it came from a simple coin most people overlook every single day. But before you rush to empty your change jar, let's pause for a moment. Because while there's incredible potential here, there's also a danger. Counterfeiters and scammers know this too. They're producing fake or altered coins, and if you don't know what to look for, it's easy to get fooled. That's why education and a little skepticism can make the difference between striking gold and being duped. Don't worry, though. In a moment, we'll cover the key things to check so you can tell whether your 1991 penny is a common cent or a rare gem. Start by examining the coin's surface carefully. Look at the Liberty inscription, Lincoln's eye, and the date. True high-grade examples have sharp, crisp details, no smudges, no wear, no discoloration. Then look at the fields, the flat areas of the coin. The fewer marks and scratches, the better. Next, check for any doubling in the lettering or numbers. That's known as a double die error, and it can multiply the coin's value many times over. Sounds tedious? Sure, but it's a small effort compared to what's at stake. Another factor collectors love to see is a strong strike, meaning the coin was struck cleanly and powerfully when minted. Weak strikes lose detail and value. Combine a strong strike with perfect surfaces, and you've got a coin that could pay your mortgage, your car, and your vacation, all at once. Now, you might be asking yourself, do I really have a shot at finding one? And here's the honest truth. Yes, you do. The U.S. Mint produced over 5 billion pennies in 1991, and many are still in circulation, hiding in jars, drawers, and old collections. The treasure is out there. It's just waiting for someone who knows what to look for. There's a certain thrill in the hunt, because you never know which coin could be your ticket to financial freedom. Isn't it amazing how something so small can hold that much potential? But time is a factor. Every year, pristine examples become harder to find as coins age, wear, or get damaged. That's why collectors are scrambling now, trying to secure these high-grade 1991 pennies before the market dries up. It's a race between discovery and decay. And those who act fast, those who check, verify, and preserve, stand to benefit the most. If you happen to find a 1991 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny in exceptional condition, your next move is crucial. Don't clean it. Don't polish it. Cleaning a coin destroys its surface and can cut its value by 90% or more. Instead, store it carefully and have it graded by a reputable service like PCGS or NGC. Once it's officially certified, you'll know exactly what you have, and buyers will too. That's when you can enter the market confidently, whether through private collectors, auctions, or high-end dealers. Let's take a moment to imagine the feeling of holding that coin. You're staring at a penny you've had for years, maybe decades. It's ordinary, familiar, and yet, suddenly, it could represent everything you've worked for. Financial freedom, security, opportunity, maybe even legacy, all from a coin that once jingled in your pocket. Isn't that the ultimate symbol of hidden potential? Of course, not every coin will reach six figures. Some rare 1991 pennies sell for hundreds or thousands, depending on grade and error type. But every fortune begins with one discovery, and this could be yours. Don't underestimate the value of what you already have. History shows that ordinary people find extraordinary coins every single year, sometimes in pocket change, sometimes in forgotten collections inherited from parents or grandparents. So, here's your call to action. Take a moment today to look through your pennies. Check every 1991 no-mint Mark coin you find. Use a magnifying glass, good lighting, and patience, because somewhere out there, another million-dollar penny is waiting to be found. The only question is, will it be you who finds it? The next time you hear that familiar clink of a penny, think twice before you dismiss it. It might not just be a coin. It might be a story of luck, of timing, of hidden wealth, and maybe, just maybe, the story that changes your life forever. Keep searching, keep learning, and who knows? Your future might just be resting in the palm of your hand. Imagine finding a single penny that could change your life forever. You're holding what looks like an ordinary 2008 Lincoln cent, brown, worn, maybe forgotten in a jar or hiding under your car seat. But what if I told you that this tiny piece of copper could be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars? And in some rare cases, even push into the millions. You might want to grab your coin jar right now. The 2008 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny is one of those incredible stories where history, rarity, and sheer luck come together to create wealth from what most people ignore. While most pennies are worth, well, 1 cent, this particular issue has shocked collectors and investors alike, with verified sales reaching over $208,000 and speculative valuations climbing even higher. But why? What makes 1 little cent so special? Let's rewind for a moment. The year was 2008, a time when the economy was collapsing, the housing market was in free fall, and people were holding on to every dollar they had. Yet, at the very same time, the U.S. Mint was striking billions of Lincoln cents, most of them unremarkable. But among those billions, a few escaped the presses with mysterious, valuable flaws, errors so rare that today they've become modern-day treasure hunts. Now, you might be wondering, how can a penny from 2008, barely 2 decades old, be worth more than a luxury car or even a house? The answer lies in a combination of rarity, demand, and story. Collectors aren't just buying metal, they're buying history. And when a story includes an error coin that shouldn't exist, the value skyrockets. Some 2008 pennies were struck with unique die errors, off-center strikes, double dies, and even transitional composition mistakes. These happen when something goes wrong during minting, creating subtle but valuable variations. One of the most famous examples is a 2008 penny with a doubled, "In God We Trust" inscription and distorted lettering on Lincoln's bust. Only a handful were ever confirmed, but those few have sold for jaw-dropping amounts. One collector recently paid over $208,000 for a pristine specimen authenticated by PCGS. And that's just the start. Imagine checking your change and seeing something slightly off, the letters not aligned, Lincoln's face a little blurred. Most people would spend it without a second thought. But you'd know better. You'd recognize that tiny imperfection as a possible gateway to financial freedom. It's a reminder that wealth doesn't always come from Wall Street. It can come from your pocket change. But here's the catch. Millions of 2008 pennies are still in circulation, and only a fraction of them have been properly checked. Time is your enemy here. Every day, more of these coins are being worn down, damaged, or simply lost. And once the surface wears, so does the value. That means every moment you wait could cost you a fortune. Have you checked your coins lately? If not, this might be the perfect wake-up call. Now, let's talk about what to look for. First, the no mint mark detail. These coins were minted in Philadelphia, which traditionally does not use a mint mark. So that part is normal. But within that batch, collectors have discovered variations that stand out: the color tone, the strike pressure, even the texture of the metal itself. Some were mistakenly minted using the older pre-1982 copper planchets rather than zinc, making them heavier and more valuable. If your 2008 penny weighs about 3.1 grams instead of 2.5, congratulations, you might be holding something extraordinary. A regular penny might buy you nothing today, but the right penny could buy you a vacation home in Florida or cover your kids' college tuition. It sounds absurd until you see the auction results yourself. But that's the power of numismatic value. It's not about what the coin was worth, but what collectors are willing to pay today. Everyone dreams of finding hidden treasure. That thrill of possibility, that heartbeat of what if. But unlike fantasy treasure maps or lottery tickets, this opportunity is real. Every coin you touch has a story, and the 2008 no mint mark Lincoln penny might just be the plot twist in yours. You might be thinking, all right, but how do I actually cash in if I find one? Great question. The first step is verification. Never clean the coin, ever. Cleaning it can instantly slash the value by 90% or more. Instead, take clear photos and compare them to certified examples online or through trusted grading services like PCGS or NGC. If it looks promising, send it in for professional grading. A small investment in authentication can multiply your return tenfold. And here's where it gets exciting. Even if your coin isn't the $208,000 variety, you could still have one worth hundreds or thousands of dollars depending on condition, errors, and demand. Some lucky finders have sold their coins online to collectors within hours. Imagine the satisfaction of realizing you've been sitting on wealth this whole time, just waiting to be noticed. How many people will take action? How many will actually check their jars, drawers, and coffee cans tonight? History shows that opportunities don't wait. The next big sale could happen tomorrow, and the next life-changing discovery could come from someone watching this very video. So before you go, take a look at your change. Look closer than you ever have. The date, 2008. The missing mint mark. Any subtle differences in shine, weight, or lettering. That tiny detail could be your ticket to financial freedom. And while others overlook it, you'll know the truth that sometimes the path to wealth isn't about making more money. It's about recognizing the hidden value in what you already have. Keep searching, keep believing, and who knows? The next time you hold a penny, you might just be holding a fortune. Imagine finding a penny worth more than your car, your mortgage, or even your retirement account. Sounds crazy, right? But right now, somewhere in America, a 2017 Lincoln penny could be sitting in someone's kitchen drawer, worth up to $217,000, and possibly even more. Before you laugh and toss your loose change back into the jar, consider this: ordinary people have turned pocket change into life-changing wealth just by paying attention. The 2017 penny isn't just another copper-colored coin. It's a golden ticket hiding in plain sight. And today, we're uncovering how this tiny piece of metal could put you on the path to financial freedom. Now, here's the story most people don't know. The Denver Mint struck over 4.4 billion Lincoln pennies in 2017. That's right, billions with a B. On the surface, that sounds like a recipe for worthlessness. How could something so common possibly be valuable? But here's the catch: within those billions lies a handful of flawed, mistruck, and error-filled coins that collectors are desperate to get their hands on. The coin that reached a jaw-dropping $217,000 wasn't just lucky. It was unique. Its perfection, paired with a specific minting error, created the ultimate storm of rarity and demand. Imagine a small doubling on Lincoln's face, a tiny die crack near the date, or a subtle off-center strike. Imperfections that make most coins look damaged, but to collectors, they're pure treasure. So why do these coins fetch such enormous sums? It's the magic of rarity, demand, and emotion. Think about it. Collectors don't just buy metal, they buy stories. They buy history. They buy the feeling of owning something that no one else on earth has. That's why one penny can be worth a fortune. And the truth is, the market for rare coins has never been more alive. Every year, record-breaking sales push the limits of what small coins can achieve. Some buyers are spending millions on Lincoln cents that most people would have used to buy gum. And while others dismiss coins as pocket change, smart collectors are building legacies. Here's something to think about. When was the last time you actually looked at your pennies? Go ahead, picture that coffee can full of change sitting on a shelf. There could be a coin in there right now that's quietly appreciating in value while you ignore it. The 2017 D penny, especially in pristine, uncirculated condition, could be that one coin that changes everything. But here's the twist: condition is everything. A 2017 D penny found in circulation might be worth a few dollars or even a few hundred. But one in mint state condition, graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC, can skyrocket to hundreds of thousands of dollars. The difference between a $1 coin and a $217,000 coin could come down to a few scratches, a tiny blemish, or how it's been stored. Collectors call it the grade gap. The higher the grade, the rarer the perfection, and the bigger the payout. It's the same reason a diamond with one tiny flaw costs thousands less than one that's flawless. So, if you have a 2017 D penny, protect it, don't clean it, don't polish it, and for heaven's sake, don't spend it. Now, let's add a little humor. It's funny how we'll chase the latest crypto or meme stock, but ignore the literal money sitting in our pockets. Maybe the true hidden gem isn't on your phone. It's in your coin jar. The clock is ticking though. As more collectors enter the market, and as high-grade examples are discovered, the chances of finding an uncirculated 2017 D penny worth a fortune are shrinking fast. The best ones are being graded, encapsulated, and locked away in private collections, likely never to resurface again. That's why now is the moment to check your coins, not next year, not someday, now. Imagine this: you're holding a 2017 D penny, and instead of a dull copper tone, you see a perfect strike, no blemishes, sharp details on Lincoln's coat, flawless rims, and that brilliant luster only a fresh mint coin has. You send it for grading. Weeks later, you get the email, mint state 70. Perfect. You're stunned. Your hands shake. Your heart races. Then the call comes. An auction house wants to list it. The hammer falls, and just like that, your penny sells for 6 figures. A story to tell for generations. That's not fantasy. It's happened before. The exact same year, the same mint mark, coins that looked nearly identical to ordinary pennies have reached life-changing prices. And with the coin market expanding into digital platforms and global auctions, demand is only accelerating. But before you rush to cash in, remember this: knowledge is your biggest asset. Learn how to identify doubling, check for mint errors, study die varieties. Even small things, a faint die crack, an extra leaf, or a misaligned strike, can be the difference between a penny worth 1 cent and one worth a down payment on a house. Look closely at the 2017 D penny's date and mint mark. Under magnification, errors like doubled die obverse or die clash marks can reveal themselves. If you spot anything unusual, consider having it professionally appraised. Many coin shops will evaluate for free, or at least point you in the right direction. And if you're wondering, could this really happen to me? Well, why not? Every person who's ever found a rare coin started as someone who didn't believe they would. Because wealth isn't just about chasing trends, it's about recognizing value where others don't. Think about it. A coin minted for 1 cent could make you a millionaire. The only difference between you and the person who finds it is whether you take a second look. So tonight, when you empty your pockets or count your change, remember, some treasures don't sparkle, they shine in copper. The 2017 D. Lincoln penny might just be your ticket to the life you've always dreamed of. And who knows? The next time you pick up a penny off the sidewalk, it might be worth stopping to smile. After all, that tiny coin could be your $1 million miracle waiting to be discovered.